Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 2:05 p.m. and this committee is back in session. Prior to the recess, the committee heard from Ms. Luella Ichihara Marshano, who is nominated to serve as the next resident executive of the Indigenous Affairs Office. Lo antes dita conseguimos na by Faisinico Operación Midzo, todos, por favor, na fansilencio y telefone Midzo, cosa que menos disturbo durante ni meeting. In sen agradecido. At this time, I will invite Mr. John Paul Regis, the acting special assistant for administration, and the nominee, Dr. Rohringer. I hope I got that right. To please come and join us in the chamber. And the role of Mr. Regis here is to formally introduce you, Doctor, to the committee. Mr. Regis, you may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Hafaday and Tiro Choroman, Selina Arbabauta, and honorable members of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For the record, my name is Jean Paul B. Regis, Acting Special Assistant for the Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of the Honorable Governor Arno I. Palacios and Honorable Lieutenant Governor David M. Apatang, I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today again. I am here to introduce Dr. Martin P. Rohringer, the Governor and Lieutenant Governor's nominee for the Healthcare Professions Licensing Board. By this time, you should have Dr. Rohringer's resume describing his professional experiences and education in your possession. Dr. Rohringer is a highly experienced professional with over 34 years of service excelling in both the government and private sectors. He has made a remarkable impact within the Sinamay due to his unwavering dedication and diligent work. Presently, he serves as the chairman of the Department of Emergency Medicine at the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation. Dr. Rohringer has been a valuable member of the corporation since 2008. And since 2013, he has served as a member of the Healthcare Professional Licensing Board. His impressive resume is a testament to his exceptional expertise and unwavering commitment to excellence. We are confident that he is well prepared to answer any questions you may have and present his visions for the future. We kindly ask for your expeditious approval of his renomination to the Healthcare Professions Licensing Board. Thank you, Jesus Mossy and Gilisa, for the opportunity to introduce him to this august body, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Regis. We will now go back to public comments, but before I do that, I'd like to formally introduce the members of the committee and for those who are not present this morning and the members, professional staff of the Legislative Bureau assisting us this morning or this afternoon. To my left, I have Senator Paul Manglona, who chairs the Public Utilities Telecommunications Committee in the Senate, and to the right, we have Senator Corina L. Magovnia, who chairs the Resources and Development Committee as well as Gaming. And then to provide us sound legal advice, we have our legal counsel, Mr. Joe Bermudez. To provide us administrative services, we have our legislative assistant, Mr. Devin Macaranas. To keep the order and decorum at all times in the chamber, we have our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Benjamin Tarlahi, and Mr. John De Leon Guerrero. And our IT manager assisting us this afternoon is Mr. Jonathan Diaz. We also have our director for the Youth Congress, Mr. Louis John L.J. Castro. Now we will go back to public comments, and I now open the floor for public comments. I ask that if you are providing public comments to please keep to the 5-minute rule. We are willing to accommodate anything longer, but just let us know ahead of time if you need more time. And also to please identify yourself for the record and the entity you represent. And if you are reading from a statement, please provide a copy to our Sergeant at Arms who will hand it over to the committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this on? It's got to turn red. Okay. Greetings, Honorable Senator Selena R. Babalta, Chairperson for the EAGI Standing Committee, Senator Donald's not here, Senator Paul A. Manglona, member, and then, of course, members Senator Corina L. Magofnia. My name is Esther S. Fleming, and I am the Executive Director for the NMI Healthcare Professional License Board. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude towards the Chairperson, Madam Senator Selena Babalta, and your committee members. To express my gratitude towards the Chairperson and your committee for the opportunity to testify in support of Dr. Martin Rawringer's renomination to the board. I would also like to thank Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang for recognizing Dr. Rawringer's contribution as a physician representing the healthcare profession. Dr. Rawringer has deep roots in Saipan spanning over 30 years, right? 30. So it's what you call homegrown. Reflecting his exceptional institutional knowledge on the healthcare landscape here in the CNMI. His dedication and thoroughness in reviewing licensure applications demonstrate a strong sense of dedication and thoroughness, crucial in ensuring high standards that are being upheld to protect the well-being of the community. I am very confident in Dr. Rawringer's ability to continue serving as a fair and impartial healthcare professional licensing board member, advocating for his reappointment for a fourth 4-year term. It's not really complete 3 years term, as he started out filling in somebody that was vacant earlier on. I respectfully urge Madam Chair and your committee members to take favorable action on Dr. Rawringer's appointment and endorse his continuation as an essential member of the Healthcare Profession Licensing Board. Thank you for your time and the privilege to testifying in your chamber for the nominee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fleming. For the record, Senator Donald Mangonia is also a member of this committee, but he is excused for this afternoon. We were having technical difficulties trying to get him on online. And before we proceed, sir, may I ask you to pronounce your last name correctly for us?
Yeah, it's Rawringer.
Rawringer.
Rawringer. Just ignore the H. Makes it easy.
Okay. Thank you for that. The floor is still open for public comments.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Senate members. My name is Juan Pua, Commissioner for Defense. I'm here in support of Dr. Rawringer. I know docs way back since 1995. We're still having our paramedic program. He's one of the doctors that would help us out on our quality improvement. Where when we bring in patient, he would side with us and ask us, "What do you think? What's wrong with the patient? What can we do better next time?" So I was even surprised when he's still here, and he's also our medical director for our department. He has helped us to create the patient treatment protocol. So with that, we're here to support his confirmation for as a member of the licensing board. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Pua. The floor is still open for public comments. If there are none, we will proceed. For the record, the committee did not receive any letters in opposition of Dr. Rawringer's nomination. I will now invite Dr. Rawringer to please rise and raise your right hand. And I call on our legislative assistant, Mr. Macaronis, to administer the oath to you.
Dr. Martin Rohringer, you do solemnly swear, under the penalty of perjury, that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated, sir. Buenas tardes para todos. Dr. Rohringer, welcome to the Senate chamber, sir. Dr. Rohringer was nominated on March 12, 2024, pursuant to 3 CMC subsection 2204B, representing physicians on the Healthcare Professions Licensing Board. His credentials were received by the committee on January 3rd, 2024. Dr. Rohringer, I want to thank you for your many years of service to our Commonwealth. And I will now give you the floor if you would like to make any opening comments to the committee.
Yes, Lady Speaker and honorable members, thank you for having me. I have to correct the description of my current job because it was submitted and I was unable to attend one of the Senate hearings, and one of my job titles is changed, so I want to make that clear. I'm no longer the director of the emergency department. I am now the deputy chief medical officer and stand with Dr. Tudela on many duties related to that. I do have a few things that might be new to mention. We are currently addressing the shortage of certain specialties in the Commonwealth with maybe some innovative pathways for foreign trained physicians to be able to meet these needs. And it's an active process that we've been working on for about 6 months now, just so that we could have additional resources to draw from. That's all I have to say. So if there's any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Dr. Rohringer. We will proceed with the question and answer portion of the hearing, and I will begin with Senator Corina Magofnia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Rohringer, and to everyone who's in the chamber in support of your nomination. I would like to thank you for your years of service also in the Commonwealth. That's quite a long time, 30 plus years. And also for accepting the renomination from our Honorable Governor Arnold I. Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatan. Your resume speaks volume. Your credentials are exceptional, as stated earlier, and so I really don't have any questions pertaining to your professional experience and your education. The only thing that I would like to ask is, I see that you have been a member of the Healthcare Professions Licensing Board for 10 plus years. And out of those 10 years, I wanted to ask, what were some of your contributions to the board, for that 10 years? And what would you like to see, what changes you would like to see moving forward, whether it be removal of some policies or regulations or amendments or any new additions to the policies, if any? Thank you.
Well, probably by far the largest role I play on the board is background checking the candidates who apply for medical licensure and other healthcare professions licensure. But being a physician, I'm relied upon along with the other physician on the committee to determine whether the person is, appropriately qualified, doesn't have any previous history that might jeopardize, patients in the community. It's because the very nature of Saipan and the Commonwealth and the location and remoteness means that very few physicians make their entire career here. So there's a natural and constant turnover of physicians, and so we have to review a lot of candidates. There's a lot of Saipan is a place that it seems like some people want to come and work and have a new opportunity, but unfortunately we get a lot of people who are running away or escaping something, and it's often difficult to make sure that the reason why people want to be here is the right reason. So that occupies a fair amount of time. But also we all contribute as a team towards all of the healthcare professions. To make it clear, we oversee all the healthcare professions, including the private EMS company, with the exception of nursing, which has its own board. But we have to review all the physiotherapy, all of them, and we do it as a team, and we've known each other for some time, and I think we do a very effective job at doing that.
Great. Thank you for that answer. That's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Magofnia. I will recognize Senator Palmanglonia this time.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Doc. You mentioned earlier about certain specialty that we need, and you're working on a pathway to addressing those. Can you elaborate more on that?
Sure. We've always had a pathway for foreign trained physicians who have had additional training in the States. We've had pathways for foreign trained physicians who do not have any training in the US, but that pathway has so far not produced any results. And it's probably because it was just wasn't written up, and the conditions required were just impossible to, or very, very difficult to achieve. So it didn't bear fruit. But we're coming up with a new one where we don't advertise a position. We don't have it won't be a mechanism where foreign physicians can find out about us and apply. And it's because it's difficult to, evaluate a foreign trained physician and what they've been doing, and, communicate with their licensing bodies, and that's sort of struggle. But it's very easy to identify winners. You got the internet now. You can literally target an area that you might have a need for. For example, a specialty. I'm just making this up. We don't have a need for this now, but let's say we need an orthopedic surgeon. They're very expensive, and it's traditionally been very hard to recruit for. And many years we struggled with the inability to deliver vital orthopedic procedures and care to patients because of that. We do have a strong orthopedic surgeon now, but when he's on vacation, everyone's always nervous because that's when something comes in. So when we're going to need to replace him, it will be a challenge. However, it wouldn't be very difficult to look at, again, I'm just using these as an example. Look up the National Orthopedic Hospital of Seoul, Korea, and it's very easy to determine who are top people. You don't have to investigate them. They're already achieved prominence in their position at a respectable institution. So background checking is pretty much greatly reduced by that, and we could offer that to people, an H-1B, which somebody might be interested in using an immigration pathway into the United States, and they would do their cut their teeth here. We can offer a work visa and extend it, and not expecting that everyone's going to want to stay here forever, but this would be certainly a measure to get high quality people who, are almost self-vetted because of, and we'd also use a referral thing. Like some, physicians are many physicians are very international. They know somebody that they trained with who's from another country, and he'd say, I know this person. They're exceptional. I know the guy, I've known him, and we've gone to conferences together, and he or she is just a terrific person and a terrific doctor. So again, the vetting process for a different country is made so much easier by a personal referral. So these candidates that we were hoping to look for will be referral only and easily vetted. So that's sort of the framework we're working on. We've got to iron out a few things and then put in the changes to legislation, then count on your support and confidence that we've put together something that is safe in the community's interest and necessity, really. And I'm hoping to speak with you again in the future when we have this worked out as an additional pathway, which will need a change in the legislation.
I'm just curious, what does it take for a foreign doctor to come here? Don't they need to take the MLE also, the medical exam?
Currently, the pathway we have includes a lot of things like that: language skills, foreign graduate medical exam, US MLEs, and for many people who are at the level of at their position in life, are not going to do that. It's too cumbersome.
So how can we bring them here?
With legislation. If California, for example, has a pathway for exceptional physicians. I mean, again, I learned about this through some applicants who just asked for hospital privileges so they could see our patients in California. And I'm looking at their credentials and they don't have a US license. They have a special facility permit because California Medical Board and the University of Southern California found this person who was of regional prominence in another country and speaks English excellent. And they said, this person does not have to do it. It's obvious he is who he is, or she is who she is. And she's at the highest at the very high level in a respected institution. This is not somebody we really have to tell them to go take this test. So California has a current pathway. And right now, Florida also is in both the Senate and the House have bills to allow a similar thing. So this isn't something I came up with all on my own. There is a growing need for certain physicians and certain specialties that are coming up everywhere, particularly in areas with the largest amount of people aging, like Florida. It's become a crisis for many specialties, and they are also looking for alternatives because the lineups are long, people can't get seen. So this would be modeled uniquely for us and for our needs, but also including what these other areas are doing to address similar problems.
So I take it you're going to be giving the legislature that recommendation soon, so we can look at it and.
Yes, depending on your definition of soon. I'm hoping, in
This month?
No. No, I'm hoping, really within months, 2 to 4 months, I'm hoping to have a draft, and I'll get our legal counsel to put it in legalese, I guess, and see if we have the support of the licensing board. I have the support of our the hospital CEO. Almost everybody is in favor of this. If it's presented properly, vetted properly, this should produce better candidates that are available at rates we can afford.
Okay. So this also, I assume, would include like trying to get young foreign doctors that if we license them here, hopefully they'll stay for decades, right?
Yes, I hope so. It's I'm not certain what we'll get and what profile of the applicant would come, but yes, that would be great if we could do that.
Okay, thank you. Just one question, Madam Chair, and it's pertaining to your field today or prior, you were EMS medical director, right?
I am currently the EMS medical
Oh,
director
okay.
for CNMI. I was
I just have a side question. I heard last week that is it true that if you're going to be going to Guam, even on your own and not necessarily on medical referral, that today our patients will not be sent to Guam because there's a lack of bed in Guam, and that they'll only send you to Guam if you are at the emergency room, and that sometimes we have to keep people at the emergency room for a day longer just so they can be at ER so that they can have an opportunity to be sent to Guam. I don't
Uh,
know if you can answer that here, but I just heard
yeah,
that.
that's
Kind of.
what that is referrals only for very, very specific things. I would say that less than 0.01% of people would meet that requirement, because the person it's not a referral, it's it's almost boils down to only being emergent neurosurgical cases that are life and death within hours. And if it doesn't meet that qualification, we can't do it, because it utilizes a clause in the EMTALA law, which is a law that forces a hospital to accept a patient. They have no choice. And the time that's going to occur is when we prove that in the emergency, this is strictly the most urgent emergencies, that we can prove to them that we cannot deal with this here right now, and you can. And Guam does not have a lot more things that they can do emergently than us. So there's very few people who reach this a level of criticality and therefore qualify.
A real shortage of hospital rooms in Guam also.
That's yeah. They prioritize their own patients. So it's all, there's people usually sitting in their emergency department waiting for an admission. So when when a patient gets discharged, that patient goes in, and then that next day they say we're full again. So they suffer from not enough rooms for patients on many days, and you can't have a number and be in the queue along with their own patients. Their own patients in their own emergency department waiting for admission are going to be prioritized.
And that includes for those patients that actually are going on their own to Guam, right? I mean, they pretty much just have to go to Guam then and go to their ER if they can get on the plane.
Yeah, if you're asking me as an individual as opposed to my current position, I mean, that's what I would do. Because if you're waiting for a referral, you might end up waiting too long. I mean, the way it's set up, and that is not just Saipan and Guam, it's many places have a similar thing because of a healthcare system that has limitations, and sometimes just too many patients, not enough physicians or resources. And so there's waiting times in emergencies, including waiting for admissions for hours or days.
Okay. This is Monsignor. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Help me piggybacking off of Senator Paul's questions. Help me understand. You said only a very, very minimal percentage, and I'm asking you as you're in your position as a medical professional, only a very, very small percentage get referred. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, very few get the immediate emergency department to emergency department transfer.
Oh, okay.
Not not any other referral, not just the one that shows up that has an emergent neurosurgical
Okay.
emergency. They will imply or invoke this
Yes,
law
I
that
understand.
requires them to accept patients even if they have no bed.
Okay, now I understand. It's just that I heard you earlier saying this is not a referral when he
Yeah.
was asking about.
I
Okay,
chose the
now
wrong word.
now I understand, sir. Thank
Emergency
you.
department to emergency
Okay.
transfer.
Thank you. You've been serving on the board that you were nominated to for many, many years, and that board was established by Public Law 15-105 in 2007 in order to protect the public's health, safety, welfare from unprofessional, incompetent, unlawful, and fraudulent or deceptive practice of the healthcare profession, and to govern the granting and use of privileges to practice healthcare in the CNMI. Have you ever encountered any issues with credentials for those who apply to have privileges here?
Yes, I mean we have candidates who apply and we discover that they've had privileges revoked because of whatever happened, and we have to. There are mechanisms, both official and unofficial, of figuring this out. When somebody has their credentials, taken away, it's a reportable nationally. But sometimes there's a window where that doesn't get there in time for you to discover it, and so we try to be very diligent at making sure, again, that somebody's not trying to run away from a problem and come here. We want to
I
make
see.
sure that they're coming here for the right intentions.
And in that situation, what did the board do? I'm just trying to understand what procedures
Um,
are in place to protect the public.
well, we require a lot of things for the candidate to prove they are who they are, by sending in documents, or we check their state license to make sure that it's up to date and without any probation or requirements or anything like that. Luckily, a lot of this stuff is online. Each state has their own site to verify that their license is good. Each specialty has its own site that shows that their credentials for surgery or whatever are up to date. So we use those resources. And I have learned to get very good at background checking, or contact some colleagues who are really good at it, or know the area and can check that. Of course, we use social media too to see what kind of try to evaluate what kind of person this is. It is a challenge to hire from trans-Pacifically, so we have to spend a lot of time to be careful. I hate to say it, but we've made mistakes in the past, and we probably will in the future. But there's only so much due diligence you can do, and you can't find anything. It does not guarantee you an excellent person, but at least you can reduce that risk of getting a bad apple down to hopefully nearly zero.
Thank you for that. So this pathway that you're talking about to provide for privileges for foreign trained or foreign educated doctors, help us understand why, or reconcile why it's okay to send our patients to foreign hospitals through the referral process, but how do we reconcile that with the fact that we have to vet them? And I understand the U.S. certification, we're on U.S. soil, we have to adhere to national regulations, right? But I'm just trying to understand why it's okay to send without proper vetting. Well, CHCC, I'm sure, does their own vetting for hospitals that patients get referred to, but we send our patients very frequently to foreign hospitals, and we accept that. But when we need, to cover up for the shortages of medical professions here at our CHCC, we need to have them go through this whole process.
Yes, I mean,
And I hope that you guys are making it easier, but, conducting your own due diligence.
yes, we will be. I mean, every country is going to have. I mean, I don't think anybody here is concerned if they went to Japan or Korea or wherever that they're going to be able to get access good health care. Virtually all countries, the healthcare system is set up so that doctors get properly trained. Now, there can be good ones or bad ones anywhere. It's very easy to tell. If it's just the same in the States, if you say, oh, this guy is or this gal is the orthopedic surgeon for the LA Lakers, you don't have to vet that one as hard as somebody who just has their credentials and you don't know really where they've worked or what they've done. And so it's the same thing with looking at a different country. You would be able to determine very easily who's the winners and who aren't. Right now, our selection is our pool is only the U.S. So, and there's such a shortage of physicians in certain areas. There's just not a lot of candidates out there that, we do our best, but it's all places are struggling to find the best people. And it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. People are not producing the number of doctors required for the growing needs of an aging population. And so this need is real and it's going to get worse. So we're just looking at alternatives to not have, just trying to increase our pool of what we can select from.
Thank you for that. Ideally, it'd be great to produce our own pool locally. That's always the best case scenario because they have a vested interest in being here in the Commonwealth. Do you see the correlation between a shortage of medical doctors globally, and aside from the advancement of medical technology, right, which increases the costs of medical care, do you see the correlation between the shortage of medical doctors and the rising costs of medical care? Is that a factor in that?
It's multifactorial. Is that a factor? I would say, it would have to be, but there's a lot of moving pieces in why the getting quality healthcare physicians here and all the challenges. There's just many of them, and we have to broaden our catchment.
And I appreciate you you've obviously been here for many, many years, decades even. And we appreciate your service to our Commonwealth, and we appreciate, your providing your services to our community here. But let me offer you another challenge. Your challenges just got wider, sir. We have to provide medical services in Tinian and Rhoda as well. How does in your area of expertise for emergent care, how can we extend those services, or are there any plans to extend those services to Tinian and Rhoda, or how do we get there?
Well, getting services and providers in Rhoda and Tinian as an extra layer of challenge. And there's many reasons for that, and getting and the duration that people will stay is a little shorter too because of those challenges. But We have tried many different models of what might best work. And it's been difficult to find a sustainable one. Right now, we do provide emergency services, and by that I mean emergency department services in Rhoda and Tinian by having a rotation where our emergency providers from our ER and Saipan rotate down on a weekly basis to both Rhoda and Tinian. And so that allows their regular providers daytime to be able to attend to, primary care, my doctor type thing, rather than the emergencies or whatever that come in. So they're not on call, and our ER providers cover 247 call for a week and then come back. So the same providers that you will see in the ER, in Saipan, many of them you'll see their face in Rhoda and Tinian, just not on a continuous basis, on a rotating basis. It's been the most successful model we've had thus far, but it's been a challenge to continue it, and we're always looking for additional solutions. But no, Tinian and Rhoda have been integral in cooperating with the Saipan Emergency Department. I'm getting off of the licensing board thing here, but I communicate with Vanessa and Keith neighbors in those places to constantly address the needs that they have. And we also send down some specialties as well. Also on a regular basis, we send OBGYN down, pediatrics, orthopedics, on varying several times a month to every 3 months, depending on the need. So we're doing our best with the resources we have to address those issues.
Thank you for that. I wasn't aware of that. And I know we switch back and forth between your nomination as a healthcare board member and the fact that you're a medical doctor, and we apologize for that, but it's helpful for us as well to help support your role as a board member of the professional licensing board or healthcare licensing board. I just have one last question for you. I noticed that you were educated in Canada. Help me understand, is there a reciprocal agreement between Canada and the United States where you didn't have to take or I don't know if you did take the medical licensing board in examination in the States or in Canada?
Well, my situation is unique in that I was born a dual citizen, so I didn't have the immigration issue. But to answer your question, the Canada and the U.S. both recognize each other's postgraduate training or residency, and it's the only two countries that do that. So it's very easy for Canadians to get licensed here. Then there's just the immigration issue or work visa. So we have two other doctors at the hospital who are from Canada, but Canadians are relatively easy to license here.
Okay, perhaps maybe that model could be looked at to extend it to the cinema. I don't know what the requirements are, but
we've had it in place. It's in our regulations. It's been legislated that we can do that. It's it just hasn't been as successful as it was in the past. Some of you may remember way back in the 90s there was a lot more Canadians here, but it became a little bit more difficult with the immigration changes in 2009. I think it was 2009.
yes,
It just made it a little more challenging, but we still get some through that pathway. But yes, the training is mutually recognized.
Okay, appreciate that. I have no further questions for you, Senator Paul. Okay, that was one of the quickest hearings we've had, but it would be my privilege, sir, to advance your nomination for confirmation to the full Senate. You are hereby dismissed.
Thank you for having me.
We will now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is miscellaneous. Are there any miscellaneous items to take care of? If there are none, this meeting is hereby adjourned. It is now 2:50 p.m.